Hey, this is going to be a Ubuntu 16.04 Multicraft install. I'd like to say first off, thank you for 50 subscribers. I've wrote a little bit of a script to do this for you, but I suggest against using the script. I suggest typing out the commands yourself. If you decide you want to test your luck with the script, then you can go ahead and use that. I'm going to create a new virtual machine here, installing from an ISO, going to my ISO directories and going to my ISO directory and going to Ubuntu 16.04, just showing you that this is a fresh install. I'm going to give it 4 GB of RAM, and I'm going to give it 4 CPU cores, as I want this to be a bit quick. The estimated installation time of this is about 50 minutes for me, but that is the total installation, not just the Multicraft. And also remember that most of that you don't actually have to be there. For my virtual machine directory, I have already created a hard drive that will be used. Call it the same one. For the network selection, I'm going to give it this one here with Vipa, and that is kind of just making it act like another computer on the network. After this is booted, this is simple Ubuntu install. Press enter a couple of times until you get to the main screen here. Enter. I'm in Australia, so I choose Australia. No, I don't want to detect my keyboard layout since it's already correct. US, US. At any points in this video, you can feel free to pause it. I'm not going to waste anyone's time, as I know time is valuable. I'm going to leave the host name as Ubuntu. This is just for demonstration purposes. You can customize it however you want. I'm going to set my username as user. Password in all cases are going to be password1 with a capital P for me. I strongly suggest whenever you go to enter a password, you enter the same password over again unless you know what you're doing, as this can get a little bit tricky to track the multiple passwords you'll have to use. Keep your password secure as well. As you would see going through this, you wouldn't actually need 2 secure passwords, as most of this is run locally and it isn't going to be contacting the internet. I'm not going to encrypt the home directory because there's no point with doing that. So I'm going to click yes on the time zone being correct. I will like to unmount this partition. I'm going to use the entire disk. Enter on that as well. And I would like to write the changes to the disk. This is starting the installation of the operating system. As you can also see on the top right, there is also a timer that is showing you how much time this actually takes real time. As I'm going to be speeding this up, as it's going to take quite a fair bit of time just to install Ubuntu, but the actual Multicraft install itself only takes about 10 minutes. This is depending on whether or not you choose to use the script or you decide to type out the commands individually. If you look down in the description, you would see the commands you can type as well as the command you can type to actually run the script. I'm going to be running the script this time. If you would like a follow-up video on this with a little bit more in depth about each of the commands and how they work, I'm happy to do so. So after the install is finished, you would see the configure package manager. I am not behind any proxy. So I'm just going to hit enter on this to move on to the next step. This is installing all the individual programs right now. I found this tends to take the longest amount of time. So for this section, I'm just going to go no automatic updates. I don't ever trust automatic updates. At this part here, I tend to enable OpenSSH, but that is only personal preference. I'm going to be using this. I usually SSH into my systems, but if you're not going to be doing that, then there's no point in doing that. SSH, for those who don't know, is remote access command line. So just then there, I'm not sure what happened. The install just looks like it disappeared. I just pressed the space button and then it moved on to the second part of it. So for this section, for the grub bootloader, I'm going to select yes for that. So as you can see here, it says installation complete. So I'm going to hit continue. It's going to finish up what it's going to do. It's going to reboot the system and bring us into our new Ubuntu 16.04 server install. So now it's installed, I'm just going to show you what the script looks like quickly. So as you can see here, it isn't very difficult at all. It's just all the commands that will be run, and most of these are in the description. So some of these ones here you wouldn't need to do, but I'll leave them in the description and you can just copy them as well. But then you get to these sections here where it tells you to go to the web setup, and then it has here the credit at the bottom. It also, after the install finishes, it does a couple of little post-installation things, like starting the Multicraft daemon service on boot and so on like that. Anyway, I'm going to get into the install. When I first do it, what I want to do, I have to set the password on the root account. So I log in with the main one with the password I set before, and then I go sudo password root, and then set the password for the root account. Just like that. I'm going to log out and log in with the root one. By default, Ubuntu doesn't set the root password. Totally sorry, I wasn't recording the screen there. All I did was simply, when I log in as the user account, and then I set the password with sudo passwd root, and then after I finish setting the password, I exit and then log in as the root user, like it is now. So I'm going to log in with the root account here. So what I do next is I need a script. So this is the script here. Now, I'm using pastebin for this, though pastebin doesn't tend to work with this. So what I do is I select everything and I copy it, and I move on to hastebin.com. And the reason I do this is pastebin, it like it has some weird character at the end of the line or the before the line or something like that, and it just doesn't seem to work for a script. So I paste this into hastebin, and then I save it. And then I remember this link here, so I get rid of the end, and I bring it up into raw, so hastebin /raw/ whatever this is. The thing is, I have to keep it in pastebin and move it over to hastebin because hastebin only lasts for 1 hour. So what I'm going to do from in the main screen again, so I'm going to run the command curl https://hastebin.com /raw and /the unique code it gave you. So what curl does, it shows you the source code of a website. Then I'm going to push that into the script. So now I have a text file with the actual text inside of there. Then I have to make the file executable, chmod u+x, and then install.sh. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this because I suggest against people running the script so they can get a bit of a feel for the system themselves. But if you would like to do it the script away and then take a bit of a gamble with it, then you can feel free to do so. To run the script, /install.sh, and then it starts running. Okay, so at this point here, what you would want to do is do Control W and search for override, and then you change this line here to all, as well as the var /www. Change this to all. Control X, type Y, and press enter, and that'll write it. Okay, so right now you want to enter the password for your MySQL. I do suggest that you keep the passwords the same throughout this installation, but it's up to you. So for this section here, just select Apache 2. All you have to do is press enter. So press enter on this screen as well. Enter the password for your MySQL application. Well, that's for the phpMyAdmin. And press enter. Password again. I'm just doing password 1 with a capital P. Okay, Now we are in the Multicraft installation script, and this is just a matter of hitting enter and entering the password where it tells you. If you would like to customize this a bit more, I'll let you know where you can. So I tend to click enter for this. This is where you can type the name of the user account for the local system. I leave it as default. Yes. If you have a license key, you can enter it here, but if you don't have a license, you can stick with the single server with 10 players, I believe, by default. Yep, if you have multiple daemons running, so you have multiple server instances running for one specific host, then if I had, say, 2 virtual machines going towards one section, 2 nodes, then I can add the second daemon here, but I only have the one and it's locally hosted, so press enter on this. Yes, I will run web panel on here. Yes, enter, enter. This is where you enter the password. When you type it, nothing's going to come up, but it will still be typing. Built-in FTP, yes, yes. And for the FTP port, if you do tend to change it, just know I've had quite a fair bit of difficulty running FTP on a separate port, but if you can get it working, then that's good for you. But I tend to leave this as 21 as well, and then press enter. And then this is where if you want to block the jar files, no by default, so press enter. Install it as mysql, press enter. The database host is an internal IP address, which means it's not accessible by the external internet at all. So press enter, 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 enter the password, press enter, and then start the installation of Multicraft. Press enter once it's done, and then press enter again to save the settings in case you screw something up and you want to do a reinstall. And before you press enter on this section here, what you want to do is move over to your web panel and access it. So the IP, you can see on the first screen, the IP address is 10.0.0.197/24. The 127 is a local IP address, well, the loopback in this case. So you want to enter 10.0.0.197. First you got to do HTTP. Usually you won't have to, but this doesn't have any resolution like that, so you would have to do HTTP within Firefox. And you go, if you go by default, you can bring to the main website that is running on the machine. And first you have to go to /phpMyAdmin. You log in with root and then the password you set before. And then at the top left section, you select new, make a new database named multicraft_panel, and then go create. Select new again, multicraft_daemon, DAEMON, create. And now you can go to the IP address /multicraft. And this will be where you actually install it. Sorry, my bad, I accidentally typed the wrong IP, so it's 197. Start installation. So basically, this is all correct. You don't want anything red. It's okay to have this warning here. Go continue. Go continue. Set the database type as MySQL. Add the username and password that you set before. Go save. Doesn't matter about any of the errors. Initialize. And this will take a little bit to actually do. Continue. And then you've got to log in at the top left. Admin. Go continue. Set the database type again as MySQL. This time it's the daemon. Add the username and password. Root and password1 with a capital P. That's in my case. Initialize database. Then go continue. Enter your email address. Just random email address. This is for resetting your password. Enable the Multicraft API. Add the password just in case it doesn't know it. And you go save. Here is the details here about how it's running. And then it wants you to start it, but all you have to do right now is you just have to go back to the script. You have to press enter, and then it says return to the web again. So all you have to do now is go refresh. You can see the daemon was picked up, the actual thing that runs it. So then you go continue to Multicraft. Okay, and then Multicraft is now installed. So it wants you to delete the install.php file. So if you go back to the main install, basically what it's going to do now is it's going to set up the firewall. It's going to delete that file that you don't want there for in case of security purposes. It's going to download a systemd file that is going to be run at startup, and it's going to enable that as well. So when you reboot the actual machine, you can get back to the same page. So I'm going to press enter. This has enabled the firewall and added a couple of firewall rules. I do have to add one more line to this, which is allowing port 80. And that will actually allow me to access it from the web. So I'll move over to the actual web again. Let's move over to the actual web, and I'll go back to the main IP. /multicraft. And now if I go to servers, and then I create a server, so I should be able to go create. So add the user admin, because that's right for the Multicraft. Create, and now if I go files FTP access, this gives me the login details. So if I go back to my FileZilla here, I can connect with the username admin.1 and the password admin, and then go connect, and yes, and now there are no files here. Okay, so I've just connected to it. I typed the wrong password, so you can see I can create a directory here. And if I go back to the main part here, I'll type in the password, and you can see it's made the directory. And then, so you can go back to the main servers, you see your server listed here, click start, view your console, details and stuff like that. Multicraft is installed. I'd like to say thank you for the 17,000 views in total for the channel over the last year. I haven't checked my channel in the year, and it's given me a bit more motivation to make these videos. I really hope this has helped you. If you'd like a secondary video on this about a more in-depth installation, as well as maybe videos about setting up the virtual machines and running Multicraft virtually rather on a physical machine to save yourself some money, then leave it down in the description and get enough people commenting saying they want that, and then I'll make the video. Otherwise, if I feel like I want to, then I'll just make the video myself. Thank you for watching.